Hi, I'm going to be testing out my other phone today. This is the XS, and I'm testing this one out for the quality of the video as well. Now, I haven't done anything in settings to change it. I understand that I can film in 4K and that I can do 60 frames per second. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but for now, I'm just doing it in whatever is native to the phone. As I say, I haven't done anything in settings yet. I do notice that this phone runs a lot hotter than the XR. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Having had the whole cancer thing, I am a little concerned about having anything generating heat that could affect me if I have the phone by my ear. Do I have to worry about my brain? Do I have to worry about anything else? I don't know. So I have to see what happens. I have a little over a week to change my mind and, trade it for something else if I am concerned about it. I will do some reading about it, and I will look to see if there are any videos that mention the heat generated by it. So we'll see. That is to be determined. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you my skin preparation routine for the morning, which includes, the first thing I do is I do my Biore. And as you can see, I'm down really low on it. I use it every single day. I love it. I wouldn't want to be without it. I have another one on order at Amazon, and I had the link below in case anybody else wanted to get it. It was really cheap for what it is, because I don't remember the size of the bottle, but it's large, and it was priced well. So what I'm going to do is, any remnants of makeup that remain on my face, I will hopefully take off with this. I really still have to tweeze my eyebrows. I can't find my favorite tweezer. I don't know where I put it, which is kind of par for the course. Good grief, will you look at this? Son of a gun, that's a lot of makeup. I guess I didn't do a very good job. And I try not to use soap on my face. So that is it. Okay. So that is step number one. Only when I feel that I've really gotten it all will it be comfortable to do step number two. It's really great taking off eye makeup as well. Okay, it got a lot of makeup off. So I'm going to just let that dry for a minute. I will, at that point, take out my Peter Thomas Roth Water Drench. And you know this one, Lord knows I've talked about it enough. I really have not felt the need to use anything else since I found this to be so good. Wow. The interesting thing is, since I started this kind of routine, a little bit of the product got into the cap because I had it in this case and the case had fallen. So it tipped over in the case and some got in the cap. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit. It is so truly moisturizing and drenching that a little bit goes a very long way. And as I said, it is not an inexpensive product, but considering the fact that it lasts me for approximately a year, it's really inexpensive in its use. So if I pay $50 for it, or I think I got it on sale in the 40s, but even if it's $50, it's like $1 a week. And you can't beat that for something that is so good. Okay. Now, this is not something that I do every day, but as you know, I love my Emma Sam Aqua Intense. This is the eye cream. It's the Hyaluron Ocean Cream. Well, it's an eye cream. You use just a very little bit of this as well. I haven't used it in a while, so that's way too much. So I'm going to put a little here, a little here, a little here, and a little here. And then I will just very gently apply it. Okay. Excuse me. Again, I will just give that a minute to kind of set up. At that point, I'm going to use my Tatcha Deep Hydrating Firming Serum. And this is, not only is it a wonderful product, again, not inexpensive, but I use a tiny, tiny little bit. So I take just a little bit of it, and that is enough to do my whole face. I love the smell of this. It's so good. A little bit, a little bit on my forehead. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't have, yes I do. This is not something I always use, but this is the Dr. Denese. It's a neck cream. It's triple strength neck wrinkle smoother. So I'm going to use that on my neck. It's a very thick cream. I'll take a little bit on my finger and always work up. I don't know why, but that's what they tell you to do. So a little bit more. I always use, I'm of a belief less is more with a lot of things. So there we go. Once again, that's the Dr. Denese, and I will let that sit as well. And once I feel as if it's a little bit drier, then I do the Magic Dust, which is my Clarins. And I love my Clarins. There is nothing like it for me. It is the Beauty Flash Balm. Brightens and tightens. Works for me. I've been using it on my neck. And again, this is what I do. I will take a little bit on my finger, like so. Now they say not to rub it in, but I just apply it. Now right here, I don't know what it does, but it does fill in that space, so it is what it is. Don't forget, folks, I'm dealing with an old neck. A little bit more, very little, and I will do the same on this side. This, I'm going to do just a little bit where the lines are. And I will do a little bit on my forehead. Okay, that is it. That is the whole deal. And I will be putting on my makeup. I don't want to do that in front of you again because I do it so often. I don't want you to get tired of it. I know, and you know, there are so many of these that we do as content providers, but oh well, the heck with it. I'm going to film it. Maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't, but I will film it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use my tinted moisturizer as a foundation, and this is my go-to. It's the Laura Mercier. It is oil-free. Oh, I had it upside down. Laura Mercier, and it is tinted moisturizer, oil-free, broad spectrum, SPF 20. It's lightweight and flawless coverage, and it really works well for me, especially on a day when I don't have anything great planned. Again, it takes very little of this stuff. I'm running low on this. Low is not the word. I'm running low. So here we go. Oh, way, way, way too much. So I'll do this for this, and this, and this, and this, and this should do my entire face. Okay. I'm even doing under my eyes, which I typically don't do because I don't want to put an extra layer on the bags. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on with me. I had a little bit, I don't want to call it a scare exactly. Well, it scared me because I found it harder each day to walk. And my leg was getting quite swollen, and I was really, really concerned. I think part of the problem may have been when I went to Best Buy to get the phones on Cyber Monday, it was pouring rain out. I had already been out to lunch with my girlfriend, and instead of going home, I really needed to replace the phone, and I wanted to do it on a day when they had the big sale because the iPhones are pricey otherwise. Okay, now I'm going back to my definition, which I always do and you always see me do. Very little. Just to start defining where I want those cheekbones to be and to give me that look. I will give it a little bit around here just to start the color so I look healthy and I don't look sallow for the winter and peaked. Lord knows I don't need anything in that department. So it had gotten to the point where, well, when I was in Best Buy, there were not as many people there as I thought there would be, and I figured I might have a shot for there not to be. Again, I'm just using this palette from Profusion, and I was concerned that, first going in with the darkest color here, I was a little concerned with, that's to give me a little bit of bronzing kind of effect. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with this very light one. So I wound up finding the place where I needed to be, and that will give me my highlight. I'm not doing anything about the bags yet. I finally found out where I needed to be, and there were a few people being taken care of. I didn't realize that the process of getting the phone is a very lengthy process because most people are bringing in an old phone and they're using the old phone to turn in, so they are transferring all the data from one phone to another, and that takes time. With mine, it took a lot of time because there was a lot of data on it. What am I going to do next? I don't want to do the under eyes yet in case I have fallout from the eyeshadow. So I wound up sitting there and I finally got the attention of a guy. It turned out I met a friend of mine there who was replacing her phone, and she was also getting an iPad. So she was delighted to be able to do that. So, oh, I can't open it again. This was the tough one to open. I'm using the Blizzard collection for my eyes today. And I will tell you, by the way, on the Profusion kit for the eyes, I never would have guessed in a million years that I would really like the primer, their eyeshadow primer. I thought it was a throwaway, frankly, but I use it all the time. I really, really like it. It gives me a good foundation for the eyeshadow, and it stays all day long. Late into the night, my shadow still looks good. So it gives me a really smooth look on my lids. So I'm liking that. Even though I'm not using the Profusion kit today, I use it more often than not, but today I think I'm going to go with the Blizzard collection. I'm going to go with a cooler kind of look. So I sat there and I started talking to this guy. My girlfriend had just gotten the XR. She had done a lot of research. So I thought, well, let me do that as well because it was a few $100s cheaper than the other phone. So I did that, and then we ran into a couple of glitches with my old switching from my other service, and I couldn't get into my account, and we had to call the other company and get my PIN number reset, so it was a whole mess. I cannot use this kit for the transition, because when I do, it's going to give me a very, it'll give me a very cool look, and I really don't want the cool look. I prefer a warmer look. So for today, and I don't usually do this, I'm going to use the face kit, and I'm going to use this brown because I think that'll work just fine. So let me try that. So I wound up sitting there. To make a long story short, it wound up being approximately 3.5 hours that I was there altogether. I was sitting on, they have these raised stool type chairs with a very low back, so I tried to sit for most of the time because of my leg. There's no way that I could have stood for all that time. There's just no way that I could do it. So I did that and didn't think too much of it until it was time for me to walk back to the car. I felt like I couldn't walk, and I was scared. I really was scared. I didn't know if I could make it to the car. And that was the first of the scary moments with the leg, this new feeling of being out of control. I think it was the next day that I went out, and I went somewhere. I don't remember where. It was not a big deal thing that I went to, and I only went for a few minutes. But when I was out in the street walking toward the place, I felt like my knee was going to buckle, and I have not felt that way before. It scared the heck out of me. I felt as if I couldn't be anywhere. I'm going to go with this, these colors, the kind of gray greens. So I got back in the car, and I just sat there for a minute to try to get my composure. And then we'll just blend. I really like these colors. I really like them a lot, and this was also a very inexpensive kit. I'm pretty sure this was Morphe, but I can't swear to it. Okay, so let's see. Do I want to go with, I think I'll go with this one, which this is at the top, and this is the lightest of those colors. So I'm going to let it gradiate to that in the center. So what I'm doing is I am just having it go from the lightest in the center to the darkest on the outside. I will at that point take a flat brush, and I will take the darkest color again, and I'm going to do my V. Okay. I'm not adding a whole lot. I'm not really going anyplace or doing anything today for which I need to really do a bang-up job on my makeup. Okay, it's sort of starting to take shape. And then I'm going to add a little bit. There is one that's a little bit greener, and I'm going to do that one. It doesn't translate on the screen as well as I hoped that it would, and I'm just going to line the bottom. Then I noticed after that, now that was Monday, today is Friday, I was ignoring it, but I was noticing each day that it was a little bit harder for me to walk. And I thought, oh my God, what did I do? Did I really? Now this is why I don't do the under eye first, because there was fallout on this. And I certainly don't want to have to deal with that after I put my concealer on. All right, I can sort of work with that. Now I'm going to put my concealer on. I had to go to the supermarket yesterday. I needed to pick up milk. I had no milk. I had no bread. I didn't need a lot of, well, I could have used, but I wasn't going to get a lot because I couldn't do it. And I know there are services that deliver, but I just needed to get a few things, and I certainly wouldn't have a delivery service for a few things. I'm going to have to do it, I know, in the next few weeks, I believe, because my neighbor is going to be away for a couple of weeks, and I don't want to, you know, she helps me out sometimes, so I'm going to be totally on my own, and that's a little bit scary. Okay, let me go back to the concealer. And what I'm going to do, I was using the Shape Tape with the Born This Way, and the Born This Way is absolutely my go-to. There's no question about it. I love this. I wouldn't want to be without it. There's not a single day that I go without it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, instead, my old Josie Maran Argan Creamy Concealer Crayon. This is a color that's a little bit on the darker side. I wouldn't normally use it, but they say if you go right into the dark part of the bag with a darker color, closest to your skin color, of course, that it's going to work the best. It's a very creamy application, this, and I've been using these for a number of years. Okay, I am going to then take my Born This Way and just put a few dots of it on. So I decided, even though I didn't feel well yesterday, and yesterday was another day, we didn't go out to lunch for a couple of weeks, so we made up for it by going twice this week. And it was just nice getting out because I'm alone so much of the time that it really is helpful for me to be with people, because until I can really get back to work, which I pray to God I can do, and is frankly terrifying for me because of my inability to function on so many levels. So, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and just blend it in a bit. So I went to the supermarket, and I got really lucky this time. I got one of the parking spaces almost in front of the door. I didn't have to walk far at all, but I noticed that I walk very tentatively, and I never walked that way during this whole process, but I don't feel like I'm in control of my legs, and that is a very scary place to be. Next thing is my Miraness BB powder. So this is that wonderfully finely milled powder, just to set the under eye and so that it does not travel. And my under eyes look awful today. I actually got a pretty decent night's sleep last night for me, which means I only woke up maybe 3 times, but I did go back to sleep, and I slept the entire night in my bed. I have been sleeping in that chair, and God bless that chair. And God bless everybody who helped me to get that chair. I'm still paying for it, unfortunately, but that'll be over soon. But it was worth it in the end, because it is the kind of a chair that I can actually sleep on. I can get halfway decent sleep on it. So I'm very, very grateful. Okay, let me give you something on the plus side, because I haven't been doing that a whole heck of a lot. I noticed when I'm lying in bed, I had to lay on my back, and learning to sleep on my back was not easy. I'm a side sleeper and I'm a tosser. So there I was sleeping on my back, and I just started to want to roll over a little bit, and I found for the first time that I could actually lean on my right hip. Now, don't forget, part of the surgery was in that whole hip area, because part of the tumor was in that retroperitoneum, leaning up against my hip. So I have not been able to put any pressure on that area whatsoever, but I was able to without immediately feeling like I needed to turn over. So that was a good feeling. And I was lying down. It's different the way you lie down on a bed and the way you lie down on a chair. It really is. But as I say, I mean, I'm on that chair so much of the time when I'm home, because every time I need to elevate that leg, it can elevate it above my heart. And that's really good because the chair has 2 motors. You can only do that in a chair that has 2 motors. Well, that's not true necessarily, but if I want to keep my head from going all the way back, that's the way to do it. So, but it was so nice being able to actually sleep in a bed. I have to tell you, as I've told you before, I've tried so many of the mascaras, and there are mascaras I like better or worse, and some of them you can really do well with that are not overly expensive. But in the end, for me, there is nothing like the Marc Jacobs. Look at this. Look at my left eye. Look at my right eye. It's astounding to me, the difference. So that's good news. And there are a few things that I am able to do, so I'm grateful for that. I'm not going to complain. I mean, better the things that I can do, and thank God for them. So I am grateful. I was hoping a kit would come out for the Christmas season with the Marc Jacobs mascara as part of it, rather than just buying a mascara, because then I get a better bang for the buck. But I haven't seen anything yet. So, and I don't want a tiny little one. I want a full size, because I really, really love this. I do have the others, and I certainly will use them in between. I also did like the Ciate of London one. I forgot the name of it. Wonder Wand? Something Wand? I don't remember. But I can't find that one since I was in the hospital. I have no idea what happened to it. Now this is without using anything down by my lashes. In other words, I didn't put any of the darker color at all. If I wanted to give it a little bit more punch, and of course I hate to do anything to the mascara because it was really so good, but I would put a tiny little bit of the darker color at the lash line if I wanted to punch it up a little bit. As I say, I'm not going anywhere today. I'm not doing anything special, so it's really not necessary. So that is the deal. It's been a long time since the phone rang, so be right back. And then my lips. And that will be it for the day. So what I'm going to try to do today is whatever I can sitting down, not putting any strain on my legs. It is also possible that the wretched weather that we were having had an impact on this. I'm not sure, but it was scary. It really was scary because I felt like I was going in the right direction and suddenly I felt like I wasn't. and I don't want to give up my independence. I can't go back. Psychologically, I'm just not in any shape to go back. I just don't know that I could do it. This is the 805, and it's called Golden Splendor. And which was this? Was this L'Oreal? I think so. I think it's L'Oreal. I can't see as well as I was able to with the little tiny things. Yeah, I believe it is. So that is the story, my friends. And I've got to keep my fingers and toes crossed and keep praying for some kind of a wonderful miracle. And my hair is still coming out. It doesn't, I mean, I had about 3 times this much today. So that was like the 3rd time. And it really bothers me because I don't know if it's indicative of something else. And it's something that never happened before through all of it, through the surgery, through the medications, through anything. And all of a sudden, there it is. Here it is again. I have more. I don't know how much is normal and how much is not. So on that note, I think I'm going to put on a wig, and I am going to be doing a wig washing for you to show you how I take care of the wigs. And I'll be doing that very soon. I also will have a couple of upcoming videos about products that I have been sent by some companies that I want to review for you, give you my first impressions, and let you know what I think of them. And as I say, and as I've told you many times before, my initial impression of things is not always what it turns out to be long-term. But if it changes over time, I will tell you that as well. So that's the story. And on that note, I hope you have a really great day, and I pray to God that my pain goes away. I hope I can walk a little bit better. And I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.